In the 1990s, a woman sued McDonald's over a cup of hot coffee. At the time, the story became one of the most famous lawsuits in American history. It was used as an example of everything wrong with the legal system. Late-night shows made jokes about it, newspapers mocked it, and many people believed it was a ridiculous case where someone spilled coffee on themselves and then sued for millions of dollars. But that's not actually what happened. The real story behind the McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit is much stranger, and much more serious, than most people think. In 1992, a 79-year-old woman named Stella Liebeck bought a cup of coffee from a McDonald's drive-thru in Albuquerque, New Mexico. She was sitting in the passenger seat of a parked car when she tried to remove the lid to add cream and sugar. While she was holding the cup between her knees, the coffee spilled into her lap. The coffee was not just hot. It was extremely hot. McDonald's served its coffee at around 180 to 190 degrees Fahrenheit, which is significantly hotter than coffee most people make at home. At that temperature, coffee can cause third-degree burns in just a few seconds. Liebeck suffered severe burns on her thighs, buttocks, and groin. She was hospitalized for 8 days, underwent skin graft surgery, and required extensive medical treatment. The injuries were serious and life-changing, especially for someone her age. At first, she didn't plan to file a major lawsuit. She simply asked McDonald's to cover her medical expenses, which were around $20,000 at the time. McDonald's refused. During the case, it was revealed that McDonald's had received hundreds of previous complaints about their coffee being too hot and causing burns. Despite this, the company continued to serve coffee at extremely high temperatures because hotter coffee stays fresh longer and customers could drive longer distances before drinking it. The company knew the coffee could cause serious burns, but decided the risk was worth it. When the case went to court, the jury saw medical photos of the burns and heard evidence that McDonald's had been warned many times about the danger. The jury decided that McDonald's was partially responsible because the coffee was served at a temperature that was dangerously hot, and the company had ignored previous warnings. Liebeck was originally awarded $200,000 in damages, but because she was found to be 20% at fault for spilling the coffee, that amount was reduced to $160,000. The jury then added punitive damages meant to punish McDonald's for knowingly selling a dangerous product. Those punitive damages were set at $2.7 million, which was roughly equal to 2 days of McDonald's coffee sales at the time. However, the judge later reduced the total amount, and the case was eventually settled for a much smaller amount that was never publicly disclosed, but is believed to have been less than $600,000. Over time, the story was simplified into a joke. A woman spilled coffee on herself and sued McDonald's for millions of dollars. But the real case was about product safety, corporate responsibility, and whether a company should be allowed to sell a product that can cause severe injuries when used normally. The case also had a huge impact on public perception of lawsuits in America. It became one of the most famous examples used in debates about tort reform and whether there are too many lawsuits in the United States. To this day, many people still believe the case was completely frivolous, but when you look at the details, the case becomes much more complicated. This wasn't a story about someone trying to get rich from a spilled cup of coffee. It was a story about how a large company handled a known safety risk, and what happens when a jury decides that a company ignored a problem for too long. The McDonald's hot coffee case became one of the most famous lawsuits in history, not because it was ridiculous, but because it was widely misunderstood. And it shows how sometimes the story everyone thinks they know isn't the story that actually happened.